What's up, YouTubers? Today we're going to take a look at the Hinderer Knives Half Track. This is the Bowie edition, available now at USA Made Blades. Woody's a great guy over there. And I have done another previous snap review of the Warney edition, which is actually exclusive to them. I don't know if the Bowie edition is or not to USA Made Blade for the Half Track, but nevertheless, you can get some over there. I wanted to get one. Actually, I've been looking for one with a blue anodize, and so this one fit the bill. And actually, the blue, I did want blue with the blue black, but just the full blue scale. The other one had been taken. I went with it. So let's go ahead and look at some comparison knives. Of course, this is a heavy built knife that is comparable almost only to itself. A Hinderer knife, because this is not like a super thin dainty slicer. We have the Wharncliffe edition Warney, again, that is exclusive to USA Made Blade, and then also the very first one that I ever had, which has been modded a little bit, which is the slicer grind. So you'll notice that with the half tracks you actually have many different, and I don't even have a full suite of these, but so those would be comparable knives. They all use a 0.16, I want to say, inch thick blade stock. Very thick, and I'll bring those others in. But in terms of like a comparison, you may be wondering, should I buy this or should I buy that? I think that the XM 18 3-inch is maybe at least comparable decision-wise, because the cost is going to be the exact same. The sharpened blade length is very similar. When you count for the larger finger choil there for the 3-inch XM18, but the actual sharpened blade and the particular shape on this one is not too far off. This is the Skinner grind of that particular blade that I recently kind of did some work on. So, that's where I'm going to be bringing that one in just a little bit more in terms of direct comparison. But this particular blade is 4.1 ounces, goes for a price of $425 US, which is standard in Hinderer price range. And it's about a 2.8, 2.9, maybe 2.85 inch of blade, and then of course you do lose a little bit of that to that choil, so maybe, I don't know, 2.6-ish of actual sharpened blade. So it is a very short one. Again, I did mention that it does use some fairly thick blade stock, so this particular knife, is not the greatest slicer around. Designed by Rick Hinderer. I think I covered all that. In terms of, we'll jump right into the pros of this particular one. Again, I'm going to probably speak really more in reference to other half tracks, because you just don't find a lot of knives that are comparable that you can torque open a door with. And I'll do a couple quick demos as well as a cut in of a demo. So on the half track front, the pros are that it is built with excellent Hinderer fit and finish, perfectly centered. It took me a long time actually to work through the lock stick, but of course a Hinderer knife that doesn't have lock stick out of the gate is probably a used Hinderer knife. So in that sense, I have no problem with that, but it works absolutely beautiful now. Drop of oil as a pivot, and it's working great. So it got the great fit and finish and the fidgetiness of the half track that I like. It does fit my hand, medium large. That trailing finger is just about on there, but I feel very comfortable with it, especially with that jimping that you have on that backside, the texturing. So, and just the design of this, and I love the half track. Obviously, I have 3 of them, so this is probably my favorite overall model in terms of kind of my platform of choice. The pros, this one did cut well. It did not slice well. We'll jump right into the cons of this one. Again, like all half tracks, they don't slice. I will go ahead and at this point slice in, pardon the pun, splice in a cut that I did with a of an apple, just to prove, for those people that are like, oh, this one slices out. This is not a great slicing knife, but it does cut. So none of the Hinderer half tracks is a particularly good slicer, and to prove that here, I'm going to go ahead and do it with this Bowie edition of the half track. It's just very thick stock. You'll just notice it just splits that thing in two. So, I just wanted to go ahead and demonstrate that. And continuing on with the apple here. You'll notice it just basically brute forces its way and presses its way through. These just don't slice very well, but that's not really what they're designed to do. To cross compare, I'm going to go ahead and show this Benchmade Mini Freak, and it's not even the greatest slicer itself, but it's definitely a much better slicer for this particular purpose. Working through cardboard, it was also not the best. But the good thing about this particular Bowie tip is that it is a very good piercer, and I did some piercing, and it works great. In fact, I found that it was just as good as that really sharp tip of the Warney. Not as good in terms if I need kind of a draw cut away. So in terms of like would I choose this over the Warney? I don't know. If I had to slice something or like separate something, the belly here might prove more advantageous, or like cut through some foam, something like that. So, on the con side, really, this particular knife is that it's just not a great slicer, but I don't necessarily good for that. As a quick demo as well, let me go ahead and show an example of what this knife is great for. Is anytime you need to be able to get inside and wrench on a knife, like get in underneath some zip tie and wrench really hard and cut simultaneously, this thing's great for that, because you can just wrench on these knives and then twist, and then it'll break through zip ties. So zip ties are one of the bigger challenges that I deal with a lot, and I deal with them quite a bit when I'm four-wheel driving a lot. So that's really one of the strengths for this. And I would say really on the overall, that's who's going to really want this knife, is somebody who wants the Hinderer strength and the tankishness of this particular one. And if you do want that little bit more finite tip, than the slicer grind, for example, I think it's more preferable. It did not slice as well as the slightly thinner blade stock that comes on the XM 3-inch, XM 18 3-inch. But like I said, for my part, I'm going to be using this for one where I need to actually wrench on something pretty hard. So I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, hit like and subscribe, and have a great day for yourselves. Take care now. So none of that.
None your business.